Coming in like a champion. Running like a legend. Heartbeat pounding deep. You never seen. Brand new logo, ready for the hustle. Blow that whistle. Gonna hit this thing champion. Rolling up to the top is where we're going. Coming in like a champion. Like a champ. Can't you feel the blood flowing? You can't stop it 'cause we're chosen. Roaring like a lion.
UMass on 3, 1, 2, 3. UMass, you know, rock.
Coming in like a champion. Running like a legend.
Oh, go. Hey there, everybody. Welcome to Clark Center. Today we have inter-system volleyball for you. UMass Dartmouth comes to the peninsula to visit UMass Boston. My name's Alex Barth. Thanks for joining us on a Tuesday afternoon. So we get ready for the Corsairs, who come in at 7-6, 0-2 in the Little East, and the Beacons, who come in at 6-10, but undefeated in the conference at 2-0. Throw to we'll be back with the player to watch. You're watching UMass Boston Beacons softball volleyball.
The 5-campus UMass system is the university that educates the workforce of Massachusetts. We recognize that we are truly here for a reason, and that recognition inspires us and drives us every single day.
I didn't know if you were telling me to go or that we were going. I said softball. I'll come down. Oh, you're doing PA? Nice, man. We'll talk, yeah. Player to watch today for us is Macayla Chianco. Chianco comes into this game a senior from Clearwater, Florida, and they will be focused on the defensive specialists to stop what has been a strong UMass Dartmouth attack in the last couple of games. They are coming off a 2-0 weekend in a tri-match back in Dartmouth. That was on Saturday. The attack was strong in that game, so the defense of Chianco is going to be big for the Beacons today if they want to come away with the win. Now take a look at the all-time series between these two schools, and as expected, in the conference, in the same system, they play a lot. It's going to be a close one. These two teams know each other. The two coaches know each other. Samantha Armorall in her first season at the helm of the Corsairs, first full season. She had worked as an assistant. And on the other side, Michael Houlihan in his 5th season at the helm of the Beacons. This is kind of cool. Beacon Athletics had him mic'd up during the last match. Let's check that out.
Head coach Mike Houlihan in his 5th season. He's assisted by Chris Morrison.
Do not get out hustled in our own gym.
Go after every ball, all right? Go after it with aggressiveness and intensity. Remember our keys to this game. Take care of that. We're gonna end with the W, all right? Let's go. Good luck. Thanks for having us. Hey, welcome back to Beaconville. Get your hands there. That short serve doesn't have to be so short. We're trying to take that slide away from them, so just hit that spot. It's all right, don't worry about it. When you go back in, keep hitting our middles for a while, right? We have to establish that, and then we can set up that stack. One more step. You just drive me at that ball. Take one more step and you'll be fine. You got it. Hey, Tina, good job. Keep the serving. Serving's tough. When we serve well, they have no answer. We just got to keep serving tough at them, mix them up, make sure we're hitting our spots, and we're good to go. Don't jump. Stay down. Come on. We're all right. Next play. If they get one, I'm going to call a timeout. If they get one, I'm going to call a timeout and ice. We have two. And some twos coming around, get her into some one slides, all right? B-balls work great, yeah. Get her into that quicker tempo stuff so she can get 3 looks and get some confidence building, all right? Oops, sorry. Hey, that's a good roll shot. It's just a little far. Keep it shallow. Keep your roll shot shallow. Right? We have to worry about doing our jobs. You're so focused on the entire thing and the score and how we're going to come back in this. You come back by focusing on what you have to do. It's what you have to do. It's not what the team has to do. It's do your job and then move on to the next point. Now, after we side out, who's my next server? Okay? Give me a run. Here we go. Let's go. Eileen, good job. Smart. Good job. Alex. We're going to go for more. All right, be ready to pass. Yep, right away. Hey, good job. Good luck, all right?
Back with Beacon coach Mike Houlihan after a 3-1 win. Coach, congratulations. What'd you learn about your team tonight?
We're a team that's up and down all the time. We're a roller coaster and we've been fighting it all year. Really impressed with the people that came off the bench. Terrific. Carson, you made some really good serves in there that put us in that match and took it away from them. Alex coming off, that was huge. Sid, same thing. Got some digs in there when we needed to. Hey, it was a team win. All right, we still have to clean it up. Going in the conference this weekend, we have to clean it up. We can't allow them to get so many points from our mistakes. So if we clean that up, we're gonna have a good weekend. All right, good team win. Good job.
Welcome back. It's always cool to see the coaches mic'd up there. Always a neat little feature. Alex Bartham joined by Seth Orensky up here in the booth at Clark Athletic Center. We're getting ready for the Corsairs and the Beacons. Thank you for joining us here from UMass Boston. And Seth, as we take a look at the statistics for this Beacons team, a lot up and down for them this year.
Yeah, the big thing to watch today is going to be the service game. UMass Dartmouth, the big stat for them, they're coming in averaging well over 2.5 aces %. The Beacons have been pretty bad on service reception compared to past years. That's what happens when you lose an All-American libero who's just so steady in Elizabeth Clavin. But that's going to be something they need to work on. So we're actually going to take a look at stats on the season before we get to the team leaders. But the big thing is they still have their big hitters. It's just finding that consistency that they've been struggling with. Eileen Shee, still one of the best players in the conference. Sarah Doyle's filled that spot in the middle. Macayla Chianco's done a great job digging the ball. It's just finding a solid rotation and getting everyone to play well. at the same time, and not just one set, but 3 sets. The Beacons have played so many up and down matches. Even in this 4-match losing streak, they've put together some dominant sets against teams like Tufts, who's supposed to be at the top of the NESCAC, a really strong Endicott side that they had down to match point in the 5th set and then dropped that match. And even this weekend against top teams out of the NUMAC and Coast Guard and Babson, Beacons are winning sets. They're going up early in sets. They just can't necessarily consistently finish off those sets, and that's what UMass Dartmouth's going to look today. Stay close early on and then try to pull off the upset later on in sets.
So we had our players to watch. Let's take a look at some of the leaders outside of the one player, who the big names are. And anybody who stands okay, so there's the numbers for the year, as we were just talking about. And you see the blocks squarely in favor of the Beacons.
Yeah, the blocks really should be squarely in favor of the Beacons because Sarah Doyle is a force. You see the number of 6-foot players. There's not many of them for either side, but Doyle's not just a 6-footer. She's 6'2" and she's athletic. She's strong, moving laterally, and that's the difference. I mean, Dartmouth has their 6-footers, but they don't have 6-footers who are quite as long or have quite the vertical that Doyle has, and that's a huge reason. Doyle alone, I think, is averaging the same amount of blocks per set as UMass Dartmouth is. That's just how dominant she's been.
The sophomore from Glendale, California, as we take a look at some of the team leaders for each side. Christina Elliott leads the Beacons in assists. She's about 5%. Talk about what they need from her today.
Well, the big thing is that UMass Boston's going to use 2 different setters. It's Elliott and Maslak, and what UMass Boston needs is they need to have both of them rolling. What we've seen over the last couple of matches, especially when the team struggles, is one will start to roll and gel, and then she'll come out of the lineup. Maybe that's Christina Elliott, maybe that's Rachel Maslak, who plays all the way around, so she'll stop being the setter, and then the Beacons go a little bit of ice cold. They need to consistently have that good passing because that's going to open up their hitters, and UMass Boston really needs an easy match today before heading into a big one on Friday against Wellesley.
Talked about the coaches a little bit in the pregame, but getting back to it, Samantha Amaral is at the helm for the Corsairs. Regis College graduate. She's in her first full year after being an assistant in the past. And on the other side, you just heard Michael Houlihan in his 5th season at the head of the Beacons.
Yeah, and this is a fun little matchup. Amaral had a lot of success at the Community College of Rhode Island. Michael Houlihan, he's in his 8th year with the Beacons, 5th year as a head coach, but this is his first year all alone as the head coach after spending the past 5 alongside Terry Condon. Houlihan, the team has gone through some up and downs. That's going to happen when you lose 5 starters, including 4 seniors. But can this Beacons team continue to roll in conference? That's the thing that matters the most in a one-bid league like the Little East. Can the Beacons move to 3-0 today and keep up with the Keene States of the world, who they're off to a huge start? But again, until one of those teams can claim the Little East Conference regular season crown, it doesn't matter that Keene State's at 15-2. The Beacons are at 6-10. They're equal in the conference standings at 2-0.
As we get ready here, just about to get set, just about 5 minutes away from the opening serve. The starting lineups first for UMass Dartmouth. Their attack's going to center around Amanda LaCroix.
Well, LaCroix's had a tremendous season, and every year you see this out of UMass Dartmouth. It's not always the same hitter, but LaCroix's putting up some really good stats. Jillian Sikora has been a nice player at the libero spot, and Tashnell Africa is going to have a big matchup today. 6-foot player. She's the one who's going to see a lot of Sarah Doyle in the middle, and the local player out of Chelsea, Mass, not too far from the Dorchester campus. A chance for her to play in front of some friends and family. We'll see how she does against a very difficult matchup.
And Africa did not play much last Saturday in either of the 2 matches against Keene State or against Wellesley. But when she did play, she played well. On the other side for the UMass Boston Beacons starting lineup.
Well, they'll introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Rachel Maslak, and I'm a junior setter from Berlin Center, Ohio.
Hi, I'm Amelia Chepievska. I'm a sophomore outside hitter from St. Paul, Minnesota.
I'm Christina Elliott. I'm a junior setter from Camas, Washington.
Hi, I'm Eileen Shi. I'm a junior outside hitter from San Francisco, California.
Hi, I'm Ariana Casengol, and I'm a sophomore middle from Melbourne, Florida.
I'm Macayla Chianco. I'm a senior libero from Clearwater, Florida.
Hi, I'm Sarah Doyle, a sophomore middle hitter from Glendale, California.
Paris changed my life.
And I got there through UMass. Those very specific seminal moments in Paris, the subway. A man in a tuxedo walked in and a woman in a long gown. And it was stunning. It all hit me. It was like a lightning bolt. There was this world of beauty and style that I wanted to be a part of. That was the beginning of the journey. And that all came through the University of Massachusetts. And that was really a key moment for me. That's one of those moments you never forget.
The University of Massachusetts Boston. It's just minutes from downtown, and the Princeton Review calls it one of the best values in the country. A nationally recognized institution of academic excellence and research, UMass Boston offers more than 150 undergraduate and graduate programs, 16 Division III sports, and more than 100 student organizations. To learn more about the opportunities waiting for you at UMass Boston, visit in person or online. UMass Boston, a research university with a teaching soul.
Celebrate the soggy shoes and the slow starts. Celebrate the lessons learned along the way. These are the wins. Not the shiny, nail-biting kind. These are the last a lifetime kind.
Something I discovered in myself is that if I have a goal, then I can accomplish it.
It's a well-rounded experience.
At a Division III school, you primarily a student athlete, so the school is really shaped around you developing yourself as a complete individual.
It helps a lot that you have a family with your team that can guide you.
Welcome back to Clark Athletic Center. Alex Barth, Seth Orinsky taking you up until the first tip and then through the game. Seth, what are the keys to the game? What do Beacons need to do today to stay undefeated in the conference?
Well, I think we talked a little bit about one of the keys. It's cutting down on the attack errors. The Beacons have had 11 service errors in 3 consecutive matches. UMass Dartmouth comes in really strong on the service thus far with that 2.64 aces per set. So if you're giving up points before you can even get into your offense, that's obviously going to hurt you. And then dominating play at the net. It's so obvious in a matchup like this where one team is averaging more than a block more per set than the other team. You have to really impose yourself upon the opponent, and that's what the Beacons did against Rhode Island College to start conference play. I think they finished with 24 block assists. They can do a similar thing today. They're really going to have an easy time because once you establish the middle, the opposing team has to focus on that. It opens up the outside hitters, and the Beacons have 2 really good ones in Eileen Chi and Amelia Chepievska. So we'll take one more commercial, and then we should have the starters on the floor and the national anthem, as we had to push the start time back a little bit today because one of our line judges was stuck in traffic. Go figure.
Oh, I was stuck behind a duck boat in the I-93 tunnel. I don't even know what one of those was doing in there. Anyway, we're going to throw to a break. We'll be back with the start of the game. Keep it here on the Beacon Broadcast Network and Little East TV.
UMass Boston was my first choice because when I came to the campus, I saw that there was a lot of diversity. There's a lot of people. Here there's a lot of international students, so it's really cool to meet people from different countries, different parts of the world. I'm Julia Murphy. I'm from Canton, Massachusetts.
I'm Olivia Murphy. I'm from Canton, Massachusetts.
We're sisters.
We're sisters.
I play volleyball and she plays basketball. Here they have a freshman success community. So each major has their own community that you can join as a freshman, and you take classes with them, you do study groups with them. So it was really helpful getting to know people in your major right away.
So in health exercise sciences, we have an internship at the end, so it's so much better to have like an advisor helping you out, like telling you which classes to choose.
People at UMass Boston, they're here because they know they can have an impact, not just on research, but on people, on their students.
This is just a starting point. It only has potential to grow, and it has a big potential to grow up.
You're really having a direct impact on people's lives, and you can see that now, and you can see that years from now.
So I think it's becoming like the place that people want to go. What UMass Boston is able to offer to its young people certainly stands out to that mission that was set right out in the beginning. It's something UMass Boston should be and can be very proud about.
All right, we're ready to get underway. Like Seth mentioned, a little bit of a delayed start here, waiting for the official, but the officials are here. They are ready. Seth, are you ready?
Ready to go.
I'm ready as well. Let's play some volleyball. Of course, if you are unfamiliar, it is a best of 5, 225. How many, you think we go more than 3 sets today?
UMass Dartmouth has taken the Beacons to 4 sets, twice since 2010. I think the Beacons, though, after this 4-match losing streak, all coming last week against really strong programs in New England, are going to look to get a little bit of momentum going here at home. They've got a 3-match homestand coming up. Wellesley's going to be a tough match on Friday. Plymouth State's normally one of the better teams in the conference. Next week, I think the Beacons are going to look to take a little bit of their frustration out against the Corsairs. And I'm interested to see if UMass Dartmouth can handle that, as this Beacons team, despite their under 500 record, has shown at points that they're a team that really can play with some top-ranked teams here in New England.
The Corsairs got their look at Keene State, who paces the conference right now. They lost 2 games in a row, but they started 15-0. Their last win coming against the Corsairs, that was on Saturday, and they took them kind of deep. And you mentioned a tough Wesley team that was also involved in that tri-match. So a lot of familiar opponents, like you mentioned, in the New England region. A good chance here for the Beacons to see how they stack up, and a chance to stay undefeated in the conference and keep pace with Keene State. And to do so, they'll have to beat the team Keene State beat last weekend.
Well, I think that Amanda Van Voorhis down at UMass Dartmouth is looking to do a similar thing to what Eastern Connecticut State has done over the past couple years. Hire a young coach, let her establish herself, and build a program. And thus far, Samantha Amaral, hey, UMass Dartmouth 7-6 to start the month of October. That's a very good place to be for a Corsairs team that has struggled over the past couple years.
Corsairs with the first save and the first point as the attack went out of bounds for UMass Boston. This one is blocked down at the net, and a quick 2-0 advantage here for the Corsairs.
Yeah, I don't even know if Eileen Shee got it to the block. That looked like it went a little bit low, and that's on the setters. The Beacons need to get some good looks early on.
Going to the back corner, she picks the corner.
Yeah,
and the Beacons are on the board.
Rachel Maslak, one of the leaders on this team, just a junior, but she's really stepped up her game. Came in as just a setter. Last season she had to hit a little bit because of some injuries, and now she's become one of the Beacons' top hitters, ranking 2nd or 3rd on the team this year in kills.
Macayla Chianco with the serve. Up it comes, trying to get it at the net, blocked down. And there she is, Sarah Doyle.
Yeah, Doyle combining with Chepievska on that one, and that's the first block already 4 points in. Dartmouth's going to have to work on that, trying to vary up the looks.
On the near side, LaCroix blocked at the net. Dartmouth able to recover it. Looks like they're going to call, I believe, 4 touches on that one.
No, it's going to be a lift on the setter. But again, Alex, we saw the Beacons get a block on that. If Dartmouth keeps going to LaCroix like they've done for most of the season, she's their best hitter. The Beacons obviously have scouted that. They're going to send the block towards LaCroix.
Setting her up again. She could not keep it in bounds. Point Beacons.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough night for LaCroix. If the Beacons are keying in on her, Dartmouth's going to have to go to their other hitters. Otherwise, we're going to see a lot of balls that are blocked down or at least made very difficult for LaCroix to find the floor.
A diving save from Jillian Sikora, but all for naught. She puts it into the net. Corsairs can't recover. Beacons with 5 unanswered points after Dartmouth started off up 2-0. Here's the serve. Little confusion over whose ball that was. They got to get it over on this hit. They do. Beacons will play it. Spiked down hard, recovered in the back by Sikora. Touchdown over the top of the net. The little tip from Maslak, 6-2.
It's a really nice dig by Sikora. She just couldn't get the angle high enough to keep the ball from going back over the net. And a nice finish from Maslak for the Beacons.
Chianco another serve. Silverman plays it over. Setting it up on the far side. Dug out. Looking for Africa. She knocks it over. Diving dig made. Soft push over the net. They're going back and forth. Longest rally we've had. Blocked down at the net. Diving save made. Kept alive by the Beacons. The slam to the back line, and it's finished by Rachel Maslak.
That was actually Chepievska, 6, not 5.
Yeah.
That was a really nice job by Chepievska. The set, she was looking for a quick one. Instead, stayed up there a little bit longer, and she reset herself, able to find the hardwood.
Serve maybe planned, comes up a little short. Corsairs have to dive for it. Beacons looking to respond the other way. Did that one stay in? It did.
This time it was Maslak. Maybe a little bit lucky there to catch the back tape, but when things are going well, and that's 8 straight points now for the Beacons.
They've come out strong after trailing very early 2-0, although they're going to have a service error here and give control back to the Corsairs. We talked about those service errors in the pregame, Seth.
Yeah, but that's one where Michael Houlihan's going to be very happy because not only did Macayla Chianco not commit a service error for 7 consecutive points, but she also was varying up the service, making it difficult for Dartmouth to get in their offense.
Played over towards the back line. LaCroix, the first hit, looking for Africa, tipped at the net, recovered by the Beacons, stuffed at the net. Corsairs, Africa, and it's off the hands of Chianco and out of bounds. Corsairs pick up their 2nd consecutive point.
I really like the aggressiveness from Tashnell Africa. She's been set more over the last 3 points than the first 5 or 6 combined, and she's swinging aggressively and doing a nice job of causing the Beacons some problems.
Over the top of the net, did it get tipped at the net? It did, so a point for the Beacons and Sarah Doyle.
Now we're going to see the Beacons go with Casey Shea, one of their freshmen who hasn't seen a ton of time. She's getting a little bit more action maybe today in this match, just trying to try her out. She did start in the match last week against Tufts.
Canton, Mass, native, former Bulldog, and the Beacons pick up another point on the serve. That one just snuck inside that back line.
Yeah, a little bit of miscommunication there for the Corsairs. Not sure if it was going to go out or not.
Here's the serve from Maslak. Sakura plays it up. Africa hit up over the shoulder. In the middle, nobody there, and flipped over the net by Chianco as she saves it. On the attack, the Corsairs. Now the Beacons slam down to the back corner for the point.
And that's important because as soon as Casey Shea came in, she was coming in for Christina Elliott. The Beacons go into their 2nd setter in Maslak. You want to see Maslak immediately keep that momentum going. That was a really nice set for the kill.
Maslak sends over an easy serve. Corsairs handle towards the back line. Knocked over, saved, into the net. And the Corsairs just ran out of touches.
Yeah, I think they might have been called for a net touch there as well as the player was trying to dig it off the net. Beacons doing a really nice job. Remember, 2-0 UMass Dartmouth. Since then, 12-2 in favor of UMass Boston.
12-4 in the first set. In a best-of-5, Africa's attack is blocked at the net. And I think we're going to have a net touch there. That was Nicole Silverman going up for the Corsairs.
And that's going to force Dartmouth's first time out. Dartmouth got off to a good start, but that service run from Macayla Chianco really giving the Beacons some of that momentum, and you can see they're capitalizing on that right now, playing really aggressive volleyball, doing a nice job getting the block there as well.
30 seconds, we'll be back. UMass Boston 13, UMass Dartmouth 4 in the first set.
I'm a Division III student athlete, and I know how powerful words can be. The term gay doesn't mean stupid, lame, or less than.
So I pledge to speak up if I hear the term gay used in a derogatory way or any other homophobic terms.
If you can play in Division III.
I'm a Division III student athlete, and my teammates unconditionally accepted me as part of their family. So now I pledge to do the same for others. If you can play in Division III.
All right, back out of the timeout. Seth, an early, we'll call it a run by UMass Dartmouth. They get up 2-0, and it's been all Beacons since. We're at 13-4. What did the Beacons change between, I don't know, the first 30 seconds of this match and the rest of it?
Well, I think the first 2 plays, they were maybe a little over-anxious. I think anytime you're on a losing streak, you tend to tense up a little bit. The biggest thing the Beacons did is they established the block. They were able to limit LaCroix. And even that last point before we went to break, we saw Africa go up, and she was blocked by Amelia Chepievska all by herself. You're really going to struggle if you're UMass Dartmouth, and the Beacons are going to focus on LaCroix and then be able to get successful 1v1 blocks.
Off of the Maslak serve, the point comes back, going over the back line, and it's 14-4. Beacons by 10, their largest lead of the evening.
The other big thing for UMass Boston is just the one service error. They've done a really nice job in the service game.
That one's long again. Maybe the Corsairs a little too amped up out of the timeout.
Yeah, I think anytime anybody in the conference comes here to the Clark Athletic Center to play UMass Boston, they're pumped up because it's a chance to take on the team that's been dominant in this conference for a while.
Block down at the net. That was a combo block there.
you look up at the banners to our right, which you can barely see because we're in the middle of some construction, but this Beacons team has won 7 of the past 8 Little East Conference tournament titles, 8 of the last 9, I think, regular season titles. You have to get amped up to play a team like this, and it really gives you a chance to see where you stack up against the best in the Little East.
And Seth, in hockey, they talk about the Winter Classic so great because it's a game meant to be played outdoors. Played outdoors. I promise I'm going somewhere with this. Technically, you mentioned the construction. We are outdoors. There's nothing at the end of this hallway. We're standing in the booth.
We are. They're still inside.
Just need the sand. Played over the net. Long volley here, tapped back down at the net. They're not going to be able to recover. Another block for the Beacons leads to another point.
Yeah, Chepievska and Doyle that time, and the Beacons are really just dominating the block at this point. UMass Boston's only credited with 1 block, but they've gotten their hands on a lot of other balls, just haven't been able to land them. The other big thing is the Beacons are hitting over 350. Dartmouth at this point, negative 263, 1 kill versus 6 errors. That is not a number you ever want to see next to your name, especially this deep in a set.
You talk about the lack of statistical blocks, but it seems to me what it's been a lot of is Dartmouth has the serve and they send it long. They're knocking the ball down at the net. UMass Dartmouth is getting a touch on it, but it's not a ball that they can play, and it leads to the Beacons point, not immediately, but eventually.
The block is leading Dartmouth to be out of system. That's their big issue. They're not able to reestablish their offense after the block, and they're just forced to give the free ball as the up official is saying no to the timeout, even though Dartmouth wanted to call their second and final timeout. So we'll continue play here after one of the stranger calls I've ever seen from a volleyball official.
Interesting start. Today's officials, by the way, Ian Young, Ralph McMinn, and Evan Shaughnessy. Did that stay in? Nope. Point Dartmouth.
Now we're not going to see a timeout out of the Dartmouth bench after they were able to get the side out they were looking for.
19-6 in the first set. The Beacons lead. Trying to get up to the 20 mark for the first time this afternoon. Towards the back line. Setting it up on the far side, kept in play. Got to get it over here. Chianco does. And then it's misplayed by the Corsairs. Officially goes down off Amanda LaCroix.
Yeah, that's a 4-touch play there for the Corsairs. But Samantha Amaral is going to have to be really disappointed with that point because the Beacons were never in system. UMass Boston never got a good pass to the setter, Maslak. So the Beacons were just trying to get it back across rather than get a good swing, and it still led to a Beacons point.
Off the Doyle serve here. Beacons looking to send it over. They set it up, going to the far side, too high. Jumping up to try to get it was Riley Thomas at 5'4". She didn't have enough. Beacons saw the height mismatch. They took advantage. They lead 21-6.
And that one might have been sailing long, but I like the effort from Thomas. If you're not sure and your team's struggling, try to keep the ball going. Try to get some momentum going for your side.
Played in the middle of the court. Tipped over, coming back the other way. Athletic play, ranging over the shoulder to get there was Maslak, and she's rewarded with the point. Beacons up to 23-6.
Again, these are points the Beacons are happy to have, but Maslak shouldn't be running that far on that pass from Sydney Birch. The Beacons are being probably a little bit sloppy for what their coaching staff would like.
And all that being said, 22-6 or 23-6? I thought we had reached 23.
Well, it should be 23 now after the Corsairs are called for the net violation and they'll use their timeout. It's a dominant score line, but I don't think we've seen the best the Beacons can play, and that's something where I think Mike Houlihan's going to have some words with his team, not angry words, but sort of trying to motivate them to play even better the rest of the way. They'll probably empty their bench sooner than you might expect in a conference match. As dominant as they've been, they haven't played that well just in comparison to what we've seen this team play here at home against some better teams like the WPIs of the world.
We'll see if they can figure it out during this timeout. We'll be back after the break. It's Beacons 23, UMass Dartmouth 6 on the Beacon Broadcast Network and Little East TV.
What separates UMass Boston from other schools is the fact that a large percentage of students commute. For me, it takes 2 hours each day to go to and from school, but every second has been worth it because the students that come here are serious about learning, they value their education, and understand where it'll take them in the future. This is what UMass Boston means to me.
Beacons will try to ramp up this first set. They are 2 points away. They lead 23-6. And the serve coming, trying to see the number there. Is that 15 or 16? It's 16, and Casey Doyle. Coming back over, Silverman long. And now we have match point here for the Beacons.
Yeah, that was actually 18. Sydney Birch, who came in, one of the backup DSs on this side, getting a little bit of extended service run right now.
So there's Birch's second serve. Up it goes the far side. Silverman again. Beacons have to get over with this hit. They do to the back line. Secor taps it well back, out of the reach of any teammates. And that will do it for set number one. The Beacons take it by a score of 25-6.
And that was a much better pass from Sydney Birch. A difficult pass, able to find Kassengall in a difficult spot for the defense to line her up, and Kassengall able to knock it off the hands of the Corsairs. So a nice little finish for UMass Boston. Now the big question is, what adjustments does Dartmouth make, and can the Beacons keep this momentum going? They've struggled to keep it going from set to set, match to match. Can UMass Boston put up another good showing in the second set? It doesn't have to be 25-6, but can they do it relatively easy?
We'll answer those questions after this. Some first set highlights and a break. We will be right back. Alex Barth, Seth Orensky on the Beacon Broadcast Network and Little East TV.
Cheer for the stumbles. The he shoulda had that's. And the tears that linger. For in those moments, greatness lies. There, you will find the provoked, the determined, the unified. It's in those moments that champions are born.
Take a look right now at the highlights from that first set between the Beacons and the Corsairs.
Is it on the attack, the Corsairs? Now the Beacons slam down to the back corner for the
Beacons are being probably a little bit sloppy for what their coaching staff would like.
And all that being said, 22-6 or 23-6?
This side, getting a little bit of extended service run right now.
So there's Birch's second serve. Up it goes the far side. Silverman again. Beacons have to get over with this hit. They do to the back line. Secor taps it. So that's some of the highlights from an explosive first set for the Beacons. Before we get into those stats, let's take a look at what else is going on around Beaconville today and this week. Women's tennis and Southern Maine in singles. They have a 2-1 lead right now. Tomorrow, got some soccer for you. Women's soccer is at home. They will host Wentworth at 7 p.m. You can find that right here on beaconathletics.com, the Beacon Broadcast Network. Men's soccer on the road at Salem State, also a 7 p.m. game. For details on that game, beaconathletics.com. Seth, big time first set for UMass Boston. 25-6. Obviously, a lot of things have to go right, although you seemed a little underwhelmed with their play, but if you had to pick one thing that went right that set, what was it?
Well, anytime you finish on a 25-4 run, you're not doing everything wrong. The Beacons had 15 digs. That's pretty good considering that Dartmouth was sending a lot of balls long. The defense was strong. 7 digs coming from Eileen Shee, who's not the team's libero, so you have to love that. The other thing is they held UMass Dartmouth to a negative .286 hitting percentage. I think that on the Dartmouth side, they're going to say we hit too many balls long, we missed. But that's also because the block was there. So the Beacons established the block, and we talked about UMass Boston struggling on the service receive. They only had to receive 6 serves, but 0 service errors, and that's a number that Michael Houlihan is probably the happiest about.
And you talk about them sending it long, too. What stuck out to me is Dartmouth sending the ball the other way. They kept sending it back over their shoulders where people couldn't play. They did that a couple times. That goes to the block and maybe even the spin that the Beacons are putting on the ball right now.
Yeah, the Beacons credited with 2 solo blocks, 2 block assists, 3 total blocks. UMass Dartmouth without a block in the first set.
Macayla Chianco, she is our player to watch. Pre-game, she will serve to get the second set started. The Beacons in the blue, Chianco in the white, the Beacons in the blue on the right, the light blue, the dark blue for the Corsairs on the left. LaCroix trying to get the first point of the set, and she does. Now remember, Corsairs started the last set out up 2-0.
Well, you want to establish LaCroix. You look at LaCroix.
Didn't do much that first set.
0 kills, 2 errors, just 4 attack attempts. And that's probably the number that's the most frustrating. Obviously, the Beacons are keying on her. We saw that early on. But you'd like to see them find different ways to get her involved.
LaCroix trying to go again. That one is blocked down. Did it land in bounds? It did. Or nodded at one.
LaCroix really thought it just missed. But still, that's 2 different ways that they found her early on. And it's tied 1-1. And now we're going to see the Beacons continue to get creative with their lineups. Alex Gibbs, one of the 2 seniors on this team, in for the first time, replacing Elliott.
It's the first time we've been tied since 2-2 in the first set. LaCroix softly plays it over. Tying it up on the near side. Lunging save made by Sakura. And that's just out of the reach of Chianco. Or did it go out of bounds? It might have been too far out of the reach.
I think that it did catch just inside the white tape. LaCroix has 4 attack attempts, already matching the first set, and 2 kills. So this is what you want to see. She heads back to the service line.
Beacon seems to be unsure who is taking that attack. They just have to lob it over. Here's the attack from Silverman, blocked at the net. Africa sends it back over. Slammed towards the back line. It doesn't stay in bounds. And a 3-1 lead for the Corsairs.
It was real close. I like the aggressiveness from Doyle. She just got a little bit too far underneath the ball. But again, the Beacons block, creating a little bit of problems for the Corsairs, who had the accidental over there. UMass Dartmouth come out with a little bit of renewed vigor to start this set.
LaCroix serve comes in low. It's dug out, tapped back down by Africa. 4-1 Corsairs. They seem to have turned this around.
Still very early. It was 2-0 in the first set. But yeah, Dartmouth has come out. They look a lot more aggressive, and that was a phenomenal serve receive from Eileen Shee. It was just too bad the Beacons couldn't do much with it.
Remember, the Corsairs had just 6 points in the first set. They lead 4-1 here in the second. You can make that 5-1.
Yeah, the block just not completely lined up. Sarah Doyle and Alex Gibbs a little bit out of sync with each other. That's what led to the block deflection that ended up on the Beacon side.
LaCroix serves it. Played towards the middle for Gibbs. Sakura lunging to save it. Silverman off the end of her fingertips. Long and out of bounds. The Beacons get one back. It's 5-2.
Good communication between Chepievska and Chianco there, talking the whole way, making sure that that ball was going long.
Chepievska will serve. They tee up Africa on the near side. Kept alive by Chianco, played way up. Served across and out.
Yeah, Eileen Shee has not been involved in the offense nearly as much as we're used to seeing, as the Beacons will take an early timeout. I believe that's just her 3rd or 4th attack attempt, just the 1 kill, and now the Beacons are going to have to go back to the drawing board. We saw it towards the end of that set. The Beacons weren't playing all that well, and now the Corsairs have picked up their game, and the Beacons haven't quite reached that same level as the Corsairs have to start the set.
She's averaging 3 kills per set this year. She had 1 in the first set, obviously does not have one here in the second set as they try to get her going. We'll step aside real quick. In the second set, it is Corsairs 6, Beacons 2 on Little East TV and the Beacon Broadcast Network.
Paris changed my life, and I got there through UMass. Those very specific seminal moments in Paris, the subway. A man in a tuxedo walked in, and a woman in a long gown. And it was stunning. It all hit me. It was like a lightning bolt. There was this world of beauty and style that I wanted to be a part of. That was the beginning of the journey. And that all came through the University of Massachusetts. And that was really a key moment for me. That's one of those moments you never forget.
Team's getting ready to take the floor here after the timeout. The Beacons took the first set, if you're just joining us, 25-6. It's been all Dartmouth here in the second set. They lead 6-2. Seth, what's been the difference?
Well, I think UMass Dartmouth has established Amanda LaCroix, and that's given the rest of the team a little bit of renewed confidence because LaCroix was held without a kill in the first set. Now she has a couple early on, and I think that the Corsairs have taken the Beacons unaware a little bit. UMass Boston thought they were going to roll to a 3-0 victory, and now UMass Dartmouth is showing that they're not going to roll over themselves, and the Beacons have to pick up their play.
And they pick up a quick point out of the timeout.
Well, why not go back to the player who has the biggest size advantage and the biggest advantage at her position? Sarah Doyle had 1 kill on 3 attack attempts in the first set, but she's just so strong in the middle. Not a lot of teams in this conference who have middles who can stack up with her.
She serves to Sakura. LaCroix tips it off the net. A strong hit as the Beacons got it back over. It looked like they were just going to keep it alive, and Eileen Shee picks up the kill.
And that's not an easy swing for Eileen Shee. She's behind the 3-meter line and able to knock that through the block, and because it hit off the block, it made it a little bit more difficult for the player behind to make the dig. The Beacons are starting to play a little bit better here offensively.
Setting it up on the far side, diving forward to Sakura, hits off her face and out of bounds.
Great job on the tip by Alex Gibbs, just over the block and short enough that the libero couldn't make the diving play. And immediately, Dartmouth, recognizing the momentum, starting to swing, calls the timeout, still leading by 1 point.
The Beacons were down 6-2. They have a chance after the timeout to even the set back up. Sets 1-0 UMass Boston. This set 6-4 UMass Dartmouth. We'll be back after this.
The University of Massachusetts Boston. It's just minutes from downtown, and the Princeton Review calls it one of the best values in the country. A nationally recognized institution of academic excellence and research, UMass Boston offers more than 150 undergraduate and graduate programs, 16 Division III sports, and more than 100 student organizations. To learn more about the opportunities waiting for you at UMass Boston, visit in person or online. UMass Boston, a research university with a teaching soul.
Out of the timeout, the Beacons with the serve and the chance to take the lead, tie it up, in the second set. Right now it's 6-5. They were down as much as 6-2.
And we're going to see Sydney Birch check in for Sarah Doyle. Doyle's a player who's being asked to play all the way around at points this year, but Birch certainly more comfortable on the back line and serving.
And we are tied as the Corsairs can't handle the serve.
And Birch is doing a nice little job from the service line today. She's seen a lot more serves. She now has 1 service ace on 6 attempts and is yet to give up a service error.
Tucks that one just in the back line. And the Corsairs grab the lead back 7-6. A lot more back and forth here than we saw in set number 1.
Well, we saw 1 lead change and 1 tie in the first set, and that came very, very early. So it's good for UMass Dartmouth to be in this set this deep.
She with the aggressive attack, and she is starting to take this over.
Yeah, that looked a little bit like hot potato on the Dartmouth side. Each player trying to pass it around, but no one able to pop it up. And it's not something we're not used to seeing out of Eileen Shee. She has so much power in that right arm of hers.
Christina Elliott with the serve. Sakura the first hit. Setting it up on the near side. Silverman taps it over. Beacons played it under the net accidentally.
It was a good tip. The Beacons had 2 players on the block, and Christina Elliott recognized it, but she couldn't pop that ball up. Instead, popped it underneath the net. Again, Dartmouth hanging tough here in the second set.
Couple of kills now for Nicole Silverman. Setting it up on the far side. She again with the slam.
Great back set. Christina Elliott had Eileen Shee in rhythm there, and even before that ball crossed the net, it was almost an obvious kill because the Dartmouth defense was late sliding over.
That is the 5th assist for Christina Elliott. She is second in the game only to Rachel Maslach.
Going to get a net touch there on the Corsairs, and the Beacons have their first lead of the set.
Eileen Shee has been good so far here in the second set. She will go now to serve as a substitution for the Corsairs. Kaylee Pacheco, the freshman, comes in, replaces Colleen Riley.
Eileen Shee had 1 kill and 1 error in the first set, then picked up a attack error, so she was hitting in the negatives. She's picked up 3 kills on 3 swings since and is now hitting 200 for the match.
as she sends that serve long, tying us back up at 9 here in the second set. The overhand swing. And a point for the Beacons.
Yeah, miscommunication there. Dartmouth's Riley Thomas was looking for someone else to make the pass, and everyone vacated the area. Just a little bit of difficulty there for a Corsairs team where a lot of these players are playing together for the first year together, maybe the second year, don't have some of the communication down pat.
Thomas plays it straight up. Sakura taps it over, couldn't keep it in bounds.
This is a dangerous spot right now for UMass Dartmouth. The Beacons building on that lead and a chance to really pull away with Macayla Chianco, one of their better servers on the service line.
They are on a 5-3 run, make it a 5-4 run now as that point goes for Dartmouth.
Yeah, that's the old broadcaster's jinx. I talk about how good Chianco is from the service line, and of course she immediately starts with a service error.
Sakura keeps it alive. Blocked at the net, but it's able to trickle over. And we're tied back at 11.
Yeah, fell just out of bounds. The Beacons continuing to key on LaCroix, but that time she just used her strength to pound it off the hands of Chepieska and Doyle and down on the Beacon side.
Setting it up on the near side, that was Doyle for the point.
It just shows how long Doyle is. It almost looks like a basketball dunk. She's able to reach her hand and then just tap it down with a really short, quick stroke. And the Dartmouth players had no chance.
Setting up LaCroix, and LaCroix picks up the kill. Closest one there was Chianco.
This has been a really nice offensive showing for Dartmouth. They had 1 kill in the first set. They're already up to 8. I think it's 7 now here in set 2. Samantha Amaral's done a really nice job of drawing up some plays and some sets to find LaCroix.
Trying to find the soft spot in the defense. The Beacons cannot. This one's sent over the back line. Point, UMass Boston.
Yeah, they've also done a nice job of cutting down on that kind of play where that's an unforced error, just sending it too long and giving the Beacons the side out they're looking for.
Off Chapieska's serve they come. That one's going to end up short, go into the net. And a 2-point lead now for the Beacons. If my memory serves me correct, their biggest lead here of the second set so far.
I think they led 11-9 as well. So, yep, 2 times they led by 2 points.
Miscommunication. Beacon's able to keep it alive. Here's she again. It's blocked at the net. Sakura plays it up. This one has to get over. It does not.
And again, UMass Dartmouth passing just not 100% on point. That would have been a really difficult swing for Silverman. It just came up a little bit short for her, pushing her right into the net.
Chapieska to serve. Played up by Shi. The slam at the net. Sakura keeps it alive. Finds the back corner. And the Beacons continue the run. That was Rachel Maslak, the junior.
Again, UMass Dartmouth unable to get into their offense that entire point. Twice they were forced out of rotation. And it's going to be really difficult against a team like UMass Boston, who moves their offense quickly, that has a lot of heavy hitters, to keep yourself in a set if you're unable to get that perfect pass for your setter so that she can set up her hitters.
An untimely service error, though, for the Beacons into the net. They'll try to regain momentum as Eileen Shi with the strong attack. Recovering is Riley Thomas. She picks the soft spot in the defense, and it's the second consecutive point for the Corsairs.
Yeah, that one looked like it should have been Alex Gibbs' ball, but instead Chepieska diving for it. A little bit of better communication might have kept the Beacons in that point.
Sakura, the sophomore, ready to serve. Passed Shi, but it stayed in.
That was a nice little serve from Sakura. The Beacons thought it was going long, but it had a little bit of spin on it and dove down at the last minute. She's made some nice plays along the back line for UMass Dartmouth today.
Another serve from Sakura with the Beacons leading 16-15 in the second set. They took the first set 25-6, setting up Shi on the near side. There's the redemption shot for the point. Beacons retain control 17-15.
Why not go back to the well that's had so much success? Eileen already has 4 kills in this set after only 1 in set number 1.
And not necessarily saying it was her fault at all, but that ball that had just stayed in the back line, she was the closest one to it to play before, and she's able to get control back with the nice attack. Looks like they're going to try to set her up again a little further back from the net, but she finds the open space on the floor.
Well, if you were with us during the pregame, one of the big things that Michael Houlihan was talking about throughout that match against WPI is the need to forget the previous play if things don't go well. And that's an example of Eileen Shee erasing it from her mind, coming back with a good swing.
Sikora the setup, LaCroix the attack, and unable to handle it was Amelia Chapieska.
Yeah, Chapieska just turned her hands, immediately recognized it, pointed, my bad. And that's a nice play from LaCroix. She popped up the service, making it difficult to get a good pass on, but able to get a really good swing from the back line.
Just wide, and the Beacons take control back as substitution for UMass Boston.
And Elliott back in there, so the Beacons will use her as the setter, and Rachel Maslach becomes a viable hitter once again.
Christina Elliott to serve. To Sikora on the back line. Setting it up on the far side. She digs it out right at the net. Tapped over Thomas. Sikora. Silverman. And it's just short of Macayla Chianco. She couldn't get there in time. 19-16 Beacons.
Cole Silverman's done a really nice job as a secondary hitter today. Obviously, LaCroix is the team's top hitter, but Silverman continues to go up aggressively against the taller Beacons block. And that time, a nice job to go cross-court to avoid the block right in front of her.
Maslach's attack is long. 19-17.
This is what I was talking about at the end of that first set. The Beacons unable to carry the momentum over. Give Dartmouth credit. UMass Dartmouth's done a nice job to bring a little bit of renewed vigor. They played better offensively. They haven't given up in this set. Not that they necessarily did that in the first set. But, again, the Beacons probably could be playing a little bit better even here in set number 2. And part of that is just not playing as efficiently as they could have in set 1.
So we have a timeout on the floor. There were 31 combined points in the first set. We're already at 37 here in the second set. The Beacons holding on to a slight lead, 19-18. We'll be back after this. Beacons with a slight 20-18 lead. This will be a big serve for Eileen Shee and UMass Boston as they try to take control going into what could be their 21st point of the set. Sikora right off of the hardwood, kept in bounds, and it would have taken 4 touches, so the Beacons get the big point.
Yeah, another difficult service reception there for the Corsairs, putting them out of system. And right now, if you're UMass Dartmouth, you need to do a little bit better on the serve receive.
She again manages to find that soft spot on the floor as Sikora had to lunge for it, setting it up on the near side. Rachel Maslach, too much to handle.
Carson Comments just into the game, the Beacons' third setter with a really nice pass, one Ohio native to the other. And the Beacons have extended this lead. I think this is their largest of the set at 22-18.
Played up by Thomas. That's going to find its way over the net. Maslach plays it back for the setup, gets it back, goes to the opposite corner and scores.
Yeah, well, if it worked once, why not go back? And Comments really only had one option in Maslach, and now the Beacons have the Corsairs in the real danger zone, needing just 2 points left.
And it may just be because of where she is on the floor, but they seem to be attacking Riley Thomas at this point as LaCroix's blocked at the net.
You're right. With Eileen Shee in the back line, the Beacons' two outsides right now are Mazlak and Chepievska. Chepievska doesn't have a ton of offense today, just the 2 kills. Mazlak has 5, so yeah, they're going with the hot hand as Eileen Shee gives up the side out. Now the Beacons will look to close it out right here.
That was on set point as well. Mazlak, 5 kills to go with 11 assists, doing a little bit of everything so far today for the Beacons. There's the serve from Courtney Beauregard. Looking for it, Chepievska returned, tapped down at the net. That was Ariana Kassengal into the game for the first time, and she gives the second set to UMass Boston.
Yeah, that's a nice way to finish, a really strong solo block. Beacons finishing this set out much better than they started. Remember, they were down 6-1 early on in the set, so the Beacons using another late run to close out the Corsairs. I think the Beacons are going to want to really be happy. You'll be talking to Michael Houlihan after this third set if the Beacons close it out in 3, otherwise after the 4th or the 5th. But I think the big thing that he's going to talk about is needing to be more consistent and having less ebbs and flows, and that was a nice way to finish it off after a really slow start to set number 2.
It wasn't as pretty as set number 1, but they pick up the win, 25-19. They'll try to close it out after the break. Keep it here. It's volleyball on Beacon Broadcast Network and Little East TV.
UMass is very public service focused, and it piqued my interest, and I started doing more research on it. I'm very focused on what can I do to make the world around me a better place. My name is Lydia Grasso. I'm a junior at UMass Boston studying sociology and minoring in human rights. Because I won the Chancellor's Scholarship at UMass, it allowed me to go to Cambodia. I was working at the Sihanouk Hospital Center of Hope. I was in the place of something horrible that had happened. I could either go home and kind of forget about that experience and kind of block it out, or I could do something so that things like that never happened again. UMass provides me with opportunities that I wouldn't get anywhere else and gives me a global perspective in a public setting. I definitely transformed at UMass.
They're not going to roll over themselves, and the Beacons have to pick up their play.
And they pick up a quick point out of
tough here in the second set.
Couple of kills now for Nicole Silverman. Setting it up on the far side, she again with the slide.
To pound it off the hands of Chepievska and Doyle and down on the Beacon side.
Setting it up on the near side, that was Doyle. Things so far today for the Beacons. There's the serve from Courtney Beauregard. Looking for it, Chepievska returned, tapped down at the net. That was our. So 2 sets in the books, and so far it has been all UMass Boston with a 2-0 lead. Alex Barth, Seth Orensky on the Beacon Broadcast Network and Little East TV. 25-6 in the first set, 25-19 in the second. And Seth, what do the Beacons have to do here to close it out? I know you've talked about consistency, but maybe give me one facet of the game that they really need to be consistent at.
Well, I just think that the Beacons need a little bit better passing. I think UMass Boston, it's not just the set, but it's also the pass to get there. And the other big thing is establishing the block. We saw it a lot early on, not as much there in set number 2. And real quick, we're going to take a look around the rest of the conference as there's 2 matches tonight, both conference matches going forward. Plymouth State at Southern Maine, a pair of teams towards the bottom of the conference, and then Rhode Island College and Eastern Connecticut State. Beacons have already defeated the Anchormen, who sit at 0-2. Eastern at 1-1, so a chance for them to push up. As Southern Maine and Plymouth State are both at 1-1. First time I've looked at the standings today, so that's actually a very interesting matchup, potentially battling for home court in the quarterfinals, as it does look as if the Beacons and Keene State will likely be the top 2 teams, but you never know. One of those teams could sneak in with a couple of weeks left in this Little East Conference regular season.
Beacons are 25 points away from improving to 3-0 in conference play. UMass Dartmouth trying to cling to their conference hopes, trying to pick up their first Little East win of the year. The initial serve in for the 3rd set in a row. It's the Corsairs picking up the first point.
Why change it? Why change the script? As long as it's working for you. The Corsairs have done a nice job early on, partially due to some Beacons mistakes, but the Beacons have been able to close out the sets, and that's a little bit more important.
Sometimes you need that chip on your shoulder. You're just feeling the comeback as this one goes long off of the attack from Amanda LaCroix.
LaCroix has been the top hitter thus far for the Corsairs. That's 5 kills to lead the team versus just 2 attack attempts. Hit over 500 coming into this set. For the Beacons, Eileen Shee has 5 kills as well to lead UMass Boston.
Shee, for the second time this game, serves it into the net.
Oh, we're looking at the second set stats. Typically, we get the stats for the whole match. So both LaCroix and Shee had 5 kills in that set alone. So very impressive second sets for those 2 players.
Total for the game, Shee has 6 kills. LaCroix has 5. So the Beacons pick up another point.
Yeah, Shee has a chance for a double-double already with 9 digs, sitting on 6 kills. So she'll need to have another strong set here in set 3.
How about 5 kills and already 11 assists for Rachel Maslak? She could potentially be in that territory as well. Set up to the near side. Silverman blocked down at the net, but it came down out of bounds. Point, UMass Dartmouth.
Yeah, another nice swing from Silverman, who just is showing that she's not intimidated by the Beacons block. That was a really good swing, and maybe a little fortunate that it fell just out of bounds. It took a little bit for the official to confirm the call, but another nice play from one of these young hitters for UMass Dartmouth. You look at the roster, no seniors on this team, just the one junior in LaCroix. This is a program that has a chance to take a step forward next year, and right now sitting at 7-6. If they can finish off the regular season at 500, that would be a really nice first year under head coach Samantha Amaral.
LaCroix from deep on the court. And that one goes long, Sarah Doyle.
Yeah, just a little bit too much on that swing. And right now, again, the Corsairs being very competitive early on in the set. I think the Beacons are going to want to get a nice little run right here to put the Corsairs out of this match.
And this has generally been where they've done it when the Corsairs get to 5 or 6 points. Set up on the far side, kept in play for now, not enough touches. It was Colleen Riley with the final touch for Dartmouth before she sent the ball over.
Yeah, great effort from Macayla Chianco, only she didn't have enough of an upward angle. Came in and hit Amelia Chepievsky, who had no chance to make the play.
Setting up the freshman, I think LaCroix got a piece of that, and she did.
Yeah,
so point for the Beacons.
That was a nice swing from Sarah Doyle, the sophomore. And I'm not sure if that ball was going to hit her or not, but LaCroix felt like she had to make an effort and wasn't able to get much on that attempted dig.
Beacons preparing to serve. It's Alex Gibbs. On the far side, Silverman. Played back over. Silverman again, deflected at the net, still alive. Have to get it over here. Gibbs. On the far side, punched over. She with the attack. Deflected off a defender and out. Point Beacons.
Alex, looking at the stats from the second set, UMass Dartmouth did a lot better in that first set. 1 kill versus 9 attack errors. In the second, 10 kills versus 7 errors. But the one area they're going to have to improve upon, 9 of their 10 kills came from LaCroix and Silverman. You have to have more secondary hitting if you're going to be successful, especially in conference where the teams are scouting you so much harder, paying so much more attention, because these matches just matter a little bit more.
After Gibbs served it into the net, the Beacons looking to take back control, and they do with Sarah Doyle.
Silverman's serves are phenomenal to watch. She gets so high on her jump serve and then has a lot of verve behind the ball. It was a really nice serve received to keep that ball up.
A lot of verve, not a lot of oasis. It was a bad 90s music pun as the Corsairs pick up a point.
Just trying to find the right adjective to describe the very talented serve of that player. And the good thing for UMass Boston was they kept her to just the one serve, not allowing it to become a service run.
You could say it leaves opponents' third eye blind, and that's my last one, I promise. Beacons looking to tie this thing up at 7. Gibbs gets aggressive, doesn't have enough. The Corsairs able to recover, and they pick up the point.
two underclassmen, Casey Shea and Ariana Costingle. They probably don't work a lot together on the block, and that's a ball that's got to be knocked down. Went through their hands, and the Beacons backline had no chance.
Courtney Beauregard, the former Stoughton Tiger, serves and picks up the point. So just like that, a 10-3 lead here for UMass Dartmouth, and a timeout taken by Michael Houlihan and UMass Boston. Did I jump the scoreboard? It might be 9-6. That's my bad.
Yeah, 9-6 at this point. But again, the Beacons just not crisp. A win is great, and I think the Beacons are still in line for that, whether it takes 3, 4, or potentially even 5. But there's still a lot of steps to be taken forward for UMass Boston. They were playing really well at the end of they started the season 0-6, played a lot of really talented teams, and struggled in some of the matches, but were playing competitive volleyball. Then they won 6 in a row, and I think during this 4-match losing streak, they've lost their confidence a little bit. Right now is a great chance today, and then the next couple days in practice to build off of this first set and potentially a win heading into Friday. And then you'd love to build another winning streak after Friday's match against Wellesley. The Beacons take on Plymouth State, and then a couple of very difficult matches on the road. Roger Williams, the strong team out of the Commonwealth Coast Conference. Clark's the strong team out of the NUMAC, and then undefeated Johnson and Wales might be the top team in all of New England. That match coming up on October the 14th.
And, of course, it all leads up to that Keene State match on the 18th if both teams can stay undefeated to that point.
And that's senior day, so that adds a little bit more. I mean, the Beacons' home
schedule. And I believe their final home match.
Yeah, the Beacons' home schedule is running out quickly. There weren't a lot of home matches to begin with, so these three are huge to get the momentum going.
Could say perhaps the Beacons have the Corsairs right where they want them. They've come back from down at least 2 in every set, now down 4, and they have rarely trailed by this much.
Well, that was a great block by Costingle, but the Corsairs able to keep the point going, and then both Gibbs and Shea late to react on that very easy ball, and it led to the Corsairs picking up the point, and that time the set for Shea a little bit behind her. The Beacons are making some mental mistakes at this point.
Serve for UMass Dartmouth and Courtney Beauregard here. She on the far side. It seems like right in the middle of the floor every time she's able to catch them napping.
Yeah, well, that's just a really nice job by She, because you're used to her using the power, and this time just uses the closed fist, able to tap it down softly. Eileen She's using the whole tool belt today as she has really picked up her play after a quiet first set offensively. She did have a team-high 7 digs.
Off of the Cummins scurve here. Beacons get a second point in a row. That was Maslak.
Yeah, and they went back to the 2 players who have had the strongest days offensively. She up to 8 kills to this point. Doyle actually has 6 kills to join Maslak with 6 tied for second. So sure the Beacons will go to those 3 players a lot to try to finish out this match.
Tipped gently over the net. Now LaCroix try to catch him sleeping on the back line. She responding. Setting it up on the far side. Near side attack from the Beacons. And the point for Maslak. They're down 11-9.
Great defense on that point by UMass Boston. A couple nice plays. Alex Gibbs had a really nice dig on a ball that was sailing over her head. Macayla Chianco got to a ball, able to keep that point alive before eventually finding Maslak.
Setting up Riley on the far side. Need to get over here. Africa does. Looking for the back corner. She was not able to get there. Rachel Maslak put a little too much on it.
You can really see a connection sometimes between setters and hitters. There's certain hitters that a setter will go back to a little bit more regularly. It looks like Carson Comics and Rachel Maslak have that connection. We've seen Comics go to Maslak a lot.
Goes to She there, finds the back line.
Yeah, that was a really nice back set, and this time She able to find the back corner. Beacons are finding holes in that Corsairs defense. We'll see if they can keep it going with Eileen She taking a very rare rest.
She gives the ball off to Sydney Birch, the sophomore from Boca Raton, Florida, will serve. 12-10 Corsairs. Beacons lead 2-0. LaCroix into the block. Coming away from the net, that was Chapieska and Cassingal.
Yeah, ball caught the pylon on the block, leaving it a Corsairs point. It was a good block, just couldn't quite keep it away from the near side pylon. And when I say pylon, I should say antenna for all the volleyball fans out there.
Nice recovery from Cassingal. She gets the point back. Chianco will serve for the Beacons. They trail 13-11 here in the third set. To the far side. Out and wide.
It's a really good swing from Chapieska. I don't know if she was just a little bit unaware of how close she was to the line there, or maybe the set took her out a little bit wider than she would have liked. So the swing that the Beacons wanted, just unable to connect.
Jillian Sikora getting ready to serve. Alex Barth, Seth Orensky, you're watching volleyball on Little East TV and the Beacon Broadcast Network as Corsairs, they're starting to pick up some momentum. 15-11 here in the third set.
There's that ugly serve receive that we talked about. Sydney Birch just unable to get her hands the right way, and that's what the Beacons want to avoid, giving up the easy points there as the Corsairs trying to pull off a little bit of an upset of just winning this set.
See if they can take that serve into the net as momentum as Casey Shea checks into the game. Tapped over by Thomas. Corsairs responding with the point.
I love what I'm seeing out of Nicole Silverman. She's got 6 kills versus 6 errors. The stats don't look great, but she continues to go up aggressively. And between her and LaCroix, they have 13 of the team's 17 kills. It's nice to see a pair of players who are going up against taller players, a strong block, just continue to attack and not really slow it down at all.
Silverman, a sophomore from, not Somerville, Massachusetts, Chelmsford, Massachusetts, as the Beacons get a point after the ball hits off the scoreboard.
I mean, sometimes the stats aren't going to look great, but it really does show when you continue to do what your coach is asking you to do, even if you know it's not necessarily going to lead to great results.
The backhanded attack there from Silverman, interesting play she made on that ball, and the Beacons will pick up the point.
Well, in getting to the ball, she had to readjust her route, wasn't able to jump, just trying to get it over. And not much more she could have done on that particular play.
Gibbs will serve at 16-14 Corsairs. Setting up Silverman on the far side. She redeems herself there.
Much better set and a nice swing. And that time, Casey Shea wasn't quite ready for the ball to get to her and didn't step to the ball.
17-14. Setting it up in the middle, punched over. Played by Thomas. Silverman again. Looking for Shea back in the game. She kept it in bounds.
Maslak's first set was a little bit too tight for Doyle, but that was a perfect set for Shea, giving her space and the angle. Right now, the Beacons would love a little bit of a service run to tie or take the lead and really try to pull this game away from the Corsairs.
That's not going to help. Down two. Sarah Doyle serving into the net. 18-15 UMass Dartmouth as Tosh Neal Africa checks into the game for the Corsairs. And Macayla Chianco checks into the game for the Beacons. And it's Chianco with the first hit. She off the deflection, tipped and out of bounds. Beacons get one back as they continue to go back and forth here.
Eileen has been phenomenal the last 2 sets. She now has five kills in each of the past 2 sets. She's hitting over 400, 11 kills and 10 digs. Already has the double-double with at least a few more points to go.
Silverman long. Back within one, 18-17 Corsairs.
Corsairs are hitting a match-high 160 for them here in the third set. The Beacons at 308. This would be their worst hitting percentage for a set as Comments comes up with the service ace.
Just like that, we're tied. See what the Beacons can do with this momentum as we're going to have a timeout. Samantha Armorall think that's a good call to take that break there as the Beacons are starting to pick up momentum.
Yeah, well, if nothing else, you're hoping just for a service error to get the point right back and to take the lead. You don't want to see the Beacons get 3, 4, 5 points in a row like they did in set 1 when they were down early, and just take control of this set and then finish the match out. For UMass Dartmouth, you're already on a 2-match losing streak. You don't want to fall back to 500. Talked about the Beacon schedule coming up. Dartmouth will host Mass Maritime Academy, pair of teams down there on the Cape on Thursday, and then a couple tough matches going forward at Brandeis on Saturday, at Eastern Connecticut State on the 10th, and then Worcester State, Western New England, Wheaton. These are winnable matches, but it's a little bit of a tougher schedule going forward than what they started the year with.
As they come out of the timeout here, said even though the Beacons were trailing for most of the set, it was close. They were never really more than 4 down. Now that they've started to come back, what do they need to do here to finish this off in 3 sets?
Well, serve, receive, and the service line is going to be huge. You can't be giving up. They did a really nice job in the first set of not committing a lot of service errors and not committing too many serve reception errors. Well, when it's a race to 7, what you want to do is not give up any free points, and that starts from the service line.
It starts with Common. She gets the first serve over. LaCroix to the back corner. Chianco there to handle. Setting up the senior Gibbs and is long on the attack. Corsairs take the lead back 19-18.
Yeah, the Beacons got into their offense but unable to finish, and now you want to get that side out right back.
Megan Molinax replaces Colleen Riley as she comes in to serve. Played over the shoulder by Gibbs. Thomas at the net. Have to get it over here. She does over the shoulder. Thomas, the set. LaCroix softly over. Setting up Gibbs. Extended volley. Africa tipped at the net. Unable to save it. Gibbs couldn't get there in time. Little confusion between her and Chianco. And it's 20-18, the Corsairs. First time they've reached 20 today. Their high was 19. 25-19 loss in the second set.
And Alex, that last play was all about bad passing. There's another one. The Beacons are not passing well to set up their offense. UMass Boston's been out of rotation in each of the past 2 points, and now they're forced to call the timeout to try to stop the bleeding.
Have to do it here, down 21-18 in the third set. Beacons looking for the comeback to put it away. We'll step away real quick here on the Beacon Broadcast Network in Little East TV.
Psychology is about understanding the individual and understanding the mind. The main reason why I want to combine psychology and business degrees is because I want to understand the business decisions that are made. I'm Nurçin Çelebi. I'm from Turkey originally. I'm a senior at the 5-year BA to MBA program at UMass Boston. I think in management, the biggest mistake you can make is to not listen. So I want to be able to step into a company and say, here's what you're doing now, and here's how you can improve it. I moved here when I was 16 for high school. Moving from Turkey, it was a rough journey for me because when you don't really speak the language that well, and when you don't really fit in the crowd, it's very easy to disappear. But I decided not to give up, and UMass helped me. I wanted to be able to improve myself. I wanted to be able to try new things, and I think UMass gave me a really good head.
Back here at the end of the third set, Beacons trailing 21-18, make it 21-19. They pick up a much-needed point.
Yeah, nice job feeding the middle. Easy swing for Ariana Castigal. Now you want to do it 2 times in a row, 3 times in a row. As the Beacons will bring in Sydney Birch, who's done a nice job from the service line of just getting the ball over and making it difficult for UMass Dartmouth to get into their offense.
Birch gets it over. Near side, LaCroix. Beacon's able to handle it. The setup picking the back corner. Rachel Maslak.
Nice little set there from Macayla Chianco. And UMass Dartmouth is a cat and mouse game. Both teams saving their timeouts till the end of the set, and they're going to call the timeout trying to keep the lead.
Back and forth we go, and back we will be right after this.
UMass Boston was my first choice because when I came to the campus, I saw that there was a lot of diversity. There's a lot of people. Here there's a lot of international students, so it's really cool to meet people from different countries, different parts of the world. I'm Julia Murphy. I'm from Canton, Massachusetts.
I'm Olivia Murphy. I'm from Canton, Massachusetts.
We're sisters.
We're sisters.
I play volleyball and she plays basketball. Here they have a freshman success community. So each major has their own community that you can join as a freshman, and you take classes with them, you do study groups with them. So it was really helpful getting to know people in your major right away.
So in health exercise sciences, we have an internship at the end, so it's so much better to have like an advisor helping you out, like telling you which classes to choose.
Back at the Clark Athletics Center, back and forth to go with the timeouts too. Playing independent points here. Serve coming from Sydney Birch, the sophomore. Beacons trying to even it up at 21. LaCroix to her knees. Chianco keeps it alive. Played low over the net. Setting up Africa in the middle. Sent it wide. Was it tipped at the net? It was not. We're tied at 21.
Yeah, Toshnell just pushed that a little bit much. You could immediately see the coaching staff a little frustrated. They wanted to find Toshnell, but she just couldn't keep that one in bounds.
Birch's serve, just off the top of the twine, gets over. LaCroix, the soft tap. Setting it up on the far side. There's the attack, and the Beacons have the lead.
Sometimes it doesn't have to be the strongest of swings. I think Chepievska got the Corsairs moving a little bit and then put it in that back corner. Now all you want from Birch is just to get it over and keep the momentum.
She does a little more than that, picks up the ace. Jillian Sikora couldn't get there.
And immediately Amaral off the bench asking her team, imploring her team, just calm down, keep yourselves in this match.
Does she have one timeout yet? I think she's used both.
I believe she has as well. The Beacons might have one left.
Knocked down at the net. It was tipped and went out of bounds, so 23-22.
Yeah, smart play there by Riley Thomas. Find your top hitter. Let LaCroix do something to get you back into the set here and try to keep in the match.
Not as good on that one from LaCroix. Serves it into the net, and now the Beacons with game point.
And Macayla Chianco, the Beacons coaching staff going to ask the same thing of her as they were asking of Birch. Get it over, maybe a little bit of a difficult serve, but just keep yourselves in it.
Gets it over, setting it up on the near side. Silverman to the far side. Kept alive, Thomas near side. Silverman again, blocked. And the Beacons pick up the point on the out of bounds, and they pick up the match. A win for UMass Boston here this afternoon over UMass Dartmouth.
Much tighter than the Beacons would have liked. Give credit to UMass Dartmouth. They adjusted after set one. They found a lot more of LaCroix and Silverman, who both swung extremely well. The Beacons are going to have to go back to the drawing board. They're going to have some things to improve upon, but we're going to hear from Michael Houlihan. At the end of the day, it's another conference win. You move to 3-0. There's some things you have to be happy about, as we'll send it to a commercial break, and we'll hear from Alex and Mike in just a sec.
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks.
The UMass Boston Beacons baseball team, who went 23-15 this year, and have consistently been a leader in their conference without having a home field to play on. That will change next season.
I am so happy and excited to join Boston College High School and your wonderful president to celebrate this symbol of our institution's friendship, as well as our shared commitment to this special neighborhood. Not only are we thrilled to be building a new ballpark with our neighboring teams and for all of our neighboring teams, but we could not be happier to provide more space. It's not just for us, Father Monin. It's for the youth of Dorchester and South Boston to be able to play as well. So your field will be used by quite a few of us for so many wonderful things.
But my hope is that the sound of the bat, that's so irresistible to us at Fenway Park, will echo through this field and will call further together the academic communities of BC High and of UMB, but especially that it will call together the youthful neighborhood communities of boys and girls who are awaiting it so eagerly.
I can't wait to put those shovels in the ground. Thank you.
We're back here with Coach Michael Houlihan. Coach, congrats on the win. The first set, 25-6. How important was it for you guys to come out with that early charge?
Yeah, I mean, it was great. It's what we talked about, is to put it away early, but we had to keep that up throughout the entire match, and we really gave up a lot of points that we shouldn't have, and we had to be able to execute a little bit better if we're going to want to win the conference this year.
And in the third set, you kind of had the opposite, where you guys had to come back a couple of times. What was the message to the team there as you're down 4-5 and the Corsairs approaching 20 points?
I just told them they have to be able to execute the scout. I mean, we kind of laid off a little bit. They thought the match was already over, and it clearly wasn't. Carson came off the bench, and she did really well to kind of get the troops going and stuff, but we really have to execute all three sets, and we can't really let it go after the first like that.
Eileen Shee seemed to come on, get stronger as the day went on. What was she able to do for you guys today in terms of how you're able to manage the players around her?
Yeah, I mean, she did great today at certain points. We really challenged her at some of those timeouts to really step up and become a leader and put the ball away when it's given to her. But I think she did well for the most part. But again, we have to just try to fix the little things at practice tomorrow before we go into Wellesley this weekend.
Head coach Michael Houlihan, thank you very much again. Congrats on the win. Let's go back to some of those highlights from the third set. Trying to pick up their first Little East win of the year. The initial serve in for the third set in a row.
She has really picked up her play after a quiet first set offensively. She did have a team-high 7 digs.
Off of the Cummins scurve here.
Birch is just to get it over and keep the momentum.
She does a little more than that. Picks up
it over, maybe a little bit of a difficult serve, but just keep yourselves in it.
Gets it over, setting it up on the near side. Silverman to the far side. Kept alive. Thomas near side. Silverman again blocked.
It gets better
and the
in time. You say I pull myself together.
It's on us.
It's on us.
It's on us.
It's on us to stop sexual assault.
It's on us to act as a family and protect one another.
Not hurt one another.
It's on us to trust our instincts and be direct.
To talk openly and honestly about sexual assault.
It's on us.
To not be a bystander.
If you see something, say something.
And to intervene in any way that you can.
It's on us.
If someone does not or cannot consent to sex, that is rape.
Consent is voluntary and mutual. It can be withdrawn at any time.
And past consent does not mean current or future consent.
There is no consent when there is force, intimidation, or coercion.
1 out of every 16 male college students are raped.
And 1 out of every 5 female college students.
Which one of us?
And which one of us?
One thing that we all need to remember is
to never blame the victim.
It's on us.
To stop it at the source.
And to spread the word.
So take the pledge and get involved.
The pledge is a personal commitment to help keep men and women safe from sexual assault.
It is a promise not to be a bystander to the problem,
but to be a part of the solution.
It's on us. It's on us.
It's on us.
Welcome back to the Clark Athletic Center. Alex Parth, Seth Orensky getting things finished up here on a Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday evening. Beacons pick up the win in 3 sets, 25-6, 25-19, and 25-22. And as we take a look at the numbers here, Seth, we talked about how big the blocks would be pregame. Wasn't necessarily UMass Boston getting that money, but they didn't allow Dartmouth to get really any.
No, and there were a lot of instances where the Beacons got a block, but they weren't able to put it down. They certainly disrupted the offense for UMass Dartmouth. Anytime you're hitting in the negatives, that means that the defense probably had something to do with it. The other big thing is the digs. I mean, the Beacons had 42 digs in a three-setter, especially that first set didn't go that long. So that's a pretty good day for UMass Boston defensively.
Take a look at the individual leaders. We did have one double-double. Eileen Shee, 11 kills and 10 digs. Those 11 kills, a team high. The 10 digs, a team high. Rachel Maslak led the Beacons with 17 assists.
Yeah, great action from Shee and Maslak. On the other side, LaCroix had a really strong match for her side. And realistically, it was a nice balance showing for UMass Boston. For UMass Dartmouth, it was really just the showing of LaCroix and Silverman up top. Those two had 15 of the team's 20 kills over 3 sets.
That is going to do it for us here from Clark Athletic Center. Before we go, a few thank yous we need to send out to everybody who put – the upcoming – pardon me, where you can catch the Beacons next first. And that starts with Wesley College. That is this Friday. We will be back at a 6 o'clock start time for that one. You can find that right here on the Beacon Broadcast Network. And then a conference matchup against Plymouth State. For information on all these upcoming games, a recap of this one and more, visit beaconsathletics.com. You can follow them on Twitter at UMass Beacons. Okay, a couple thank yous here to give out, right? We're done with it all. There we go. All right, so for everybody who made this look so good, Anthony Searles, Alex Carusoto. I always screw one up. Did I get that right? Carusoto, all right. Alyssa Fugel on the replay, pushing all the buttons. Our camera people, Roxanne Vento and Giovanna Bonilla. For Seth Orensky, my name is Alex Barth. We will talk to you on Friday. Until then, have a good one. Bye.